Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at a popular tactile switch, the glorious Panda. Let's get started. Now, when these first came out around 2 years ago, they were known as the glorious Holy Panda, but now they're just known as the glorious Panda. If you want to know more about as to why, read this review from Thermion Goat, link in the description. There's plenty of drama there that I won't go through in this review. Furthermore, these switches are said to be created from the original in-veer Panda housing. In fact, this entire description is plastered with insane levels of marketing, and it doesn't stop here. The box the switches come in also have more marketing on them, which honestly is a bit too much in my opinion. If you want to pause to read these, go ahead. Now, in terms of pricing, these are currently on sale for $20 for the unlubed variant and $35 for the lubed variant. Each pack comes with 36 switches. And this is what they look like when disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are very smooth with only mild scratchiness during very slow key presses. Off-center key presses are fairly smooth, though all of my switches exhibited decent levels of scratchiness, some of which can be felt when normally typing. Overall, they're better than average, decent even, but that's it, just decent, nothing amazing. 6 out of 10. Now, according to switches.mx, these switches have an actuation force of 67 grams at 2mm and a total travel of 4mm. However, with that said, this force curve from Man of Interests more closely represents what I've been feeling, and as you can see, the switches don't even get close to 67 grams, and the total travel is closer to 3.4mm. Now, in terms of overall key feel, there's no pre-travel, and I would describe the tactile bump to be adequate. It's not too light, but it's not too heavy either. However, the tactility itself isn't as crisp feeling compared to the Durock T1 or the Berber U4T. They're actually quite mushy, not rubber dome levels of mush, but they just aren't as satisfying to actuate. Overall, these are solidly weighted switches with a slightly mushier feel compared to its competitors, but they aren't bad given the price. 7 out of 10. Now, these sound very clacky when bottomed out. Then again, I do have a build that's meant to bring out the clackiness of switches, so this isn't a huge surprise. They do however have a noticeable spring ping and sound quite tinny at times, but these can be fixed with some lube. Overall, I like them as they are, 7 out of 10. Now, take a listen and enjoy. Now, typing on these wasn't the most enjoyable experience, it's one of its biggest weaknesses. Firstly, as mentioned earlier, the tactility is quite mushy compared to its competitors, and this is bad because the Durock T1, the Lavender Purple, and the Polaris Purple exist, and those switches directly compete with these. Secondly, switches installed in larger keys such as the right shift key sometimes return slower, especially when pressed off-center. And by the way, it's not my stabilizers, as some of you have noted, believe me, I've checked. Now, I don't completely hate these switches, I do like the fact there is no pre-travel and the scratchiness is consistent. Yes, you heard that right. Its consistent scratchiness is one of its upsides. This is mainly because it still makes the switches more predictable, unlike inconsistent scratchiness, which you see more commonly. Overall though, this one is hard to recommend, especially at stock given its issues. However, with some easy modifications, you can probably still salvage these. 5 out of 10. Now, at first, these were a little too heavy for gaming in some scenarios, but I did eventually get used to them. Though this is rather weird since I should be fine with them from the get-go given their weighting. Perhaps it's the scratchiness that threw me off, I'm not sure. Additionally, I find it hard to recommend these to anyone who plays slower paced games due to the scratchiness, which could be a potential distraction. Again, modifications are your best friends here. Overall, they perform much better in fast paced games like Team Fortress 2 for example, although they aren't completely unusable for everything else. 6 out of 10. In conclusion, even though these aren't completely bad switches, I'm still left hoping it performed better. Although it isn't the worst switch price to performance wise, so there is that. These do have a purpose, but there are so many other options that can do the same job for less money. The final score for this switch is 31 out of 50 or 62%. Coincidentally, this is also the 60-second review. And that's the end of the review. Next time I'll be taking a look at another tactile switch. It's not the Holy Panda, but it's something else. Until then, take care and goodbye.